Hello, everyone. Welcome to Behind the Headlines, brought to you by 360 Entertainment, where we will sneak behind the scenes of Hollywood and talk about what life in the spotlight really looks like. I'm your host, Julia, and today we're digging into one of the latest scandals, the Oscar slap incident. You all know what I'm talking about. Will Smith slapping Chris Rock live on stage. But instead of rehashing the event, we're here to look deeper. Why did this happen? How can Will heal from it? And what can we, as a public, learn from this situation? Before we start, I would like to add a disclaimer. This podcast is a part of a student project and not an actual podcast series. To help us unpack all of that, I'm joined by Nathalia O, a psychologist who specializes in emotional control. Thanks for being here, Nathalia.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is such a meaningful topic because we often forget that even celebrities experience emotional challenges, just like the rest of us. I have a huge experience of working with people overwhelmed by all kinds of things, and I'm happy to share my thoughts with your audience today.
We all saw Will Smith's intense reaction to Chris Rock's joke about his wife Jada. At first, people couldn't believe it. Will's always been seen as a nice, laid-back guy, but this was a very different side of him. Let's start with this. What do you think was going through his mind in that moment?
I feel like at that moment, Will was likely overwhelmed with emotions. The joke about Jada, who is dealing with alopecia, a condition that's already a sensitive subject, just triggered a protective instinct. He wasn't just reacting to the joke itself. He was reacting to years and years of public pressure. And sometimes, even for someone as famous as Will, that stress can boil over.
Yeah, it's like we saw him reach his breaking point. And I think people, including me, were surprised because he's been in the public eye for so long, handling everything with such grace. But everyone has their limits, right?
Absolutely. I feel like no matter how long someone has been in the public eye, they're still a human. Fame doesn't protect you from stress, emotional triggers, or the need to defend someone you love. It just makes those moments more intense when they become public.
Do you think Will's reaction was a bit too harsh?
I feel like, yeah, in many ways, actually. Will's reaction to the joke was too harsh. In the heat of the moment, but we need to remember that the emotions, especially when they link to personal issues like family, can escalate quickly.
What should have been the right reaction from Will in that situation?
I feel like in that situation, maybe a better approach would have been to take a breath, stay composed, and address the issue privately after the event. Usually, a calm verbal response would have allowed him to address Chris Rock's comment and turn the whole situation around by making Chris a guilty one.
So let's move forward. What happens next for Will? He's already apologized, of course, but how does someone emotionally recover from something like this, especially when it's so public, so talked about?
Healing after a public mistake like this definitely isn't easy, but it starts with self-reflection. We'll just need to take a step back and understand what led to his reaction. Therapy is one key way he can process those emotions, explore what triggered him, and work through the pressure he faces being in the public eye. He also needs time to simply forgive himself.
Right. Because I imagine part of the challenge is dealing with the public perception. It's not just about what happened that night, but how people are reacting to it now and his colleagues. Because it seems to be super high pressured.
Yes, and that's where the real emotion comes in. Will has to focus on his own healing without letting public opinion decide his path. It's all about accepting responsibility and also focusing on personal growth and being kind to himself. That's simply crucial for anyone in a similar situation. Doesn't matter if it's a celebrity or not.
Do you think this can also be a moment of growth for him? A chance to reset emotionally and mentally and also grow personally?
Absolutely, yes. Moments like this, while painful, can be a reason for a change. If Will uses this as an opportunity to reflect and grow and just to understand himself better, he can come out of it stronger and more in tune with his emotions. It's about turning a mistake into a learning experience.
For people listening, whether they're celebrities or just regular folks going through their own struggles, what can they do to hold it together when life feels overwhelming?
The first thing is to remember that it's okay not to be perfect, whether you're in the public eye or not. Everyone makes mistakes. The key is to give yourself grace and understand that growth comes from learning through difficult moments. For Will and for actually anyone, it's important to practice self-compassion. Seek help when needed and just surround yourself with a strong support system.
And when it comes to being in the public eye, what advice would you give to celebrities, in case they're listening, of course, who constantly feel judged or under pressure?
I would say that it's all about boundaries. Therapy, mindfulness practices, and time away from the spotlight are all helpful ways to stay grounded. Most importantly, they need to remind themselves that being a human means making mistakes.
Yeah, whether it's Will's slap or another public misstep, how can we be more understanding as an audience?
Uh, First of all, we need to stop idealizing celebrities. It's easy to think that their lives are perfect just because we don't see what's happening behind the scene. We only see a small part of the picture, but they're also human and they're going through things we can't see: pressures, personal struggles, mental health battles. Instead of putting them on a pedestal, we should recognize that they're just as complex as anyone else. They deserve empathy, not judgment.
Exactly. We often forget that everyone, no matter how famous, is fighting battles we don't know about. It's a good reminder to be more mindful in how we react to the public situation. Thank you so much, Natalia, for your insights today.
Oh, you're welcome. I was very happy to be here.
It's clear that fame isn't all glitz and glamour, and even people we idolize struggle with the same emotional challenges we do. If today's episode resonated with you, or if you're dealing with your own emotional stress, remember, you're not alone. There are resources out there like Mental Health America and the National Alliance on Mental Illness where you can find support. You can visit our website where we've shared these mental health resources and more. Next week on Behind the Headlines, we will uncover what it takes to issue a real public apology, how it works, and when it doesn't. Stay tuned, and in the meantime, remember, nobody's perfect, not even your favorite star.